According to the U.S. Labor Department, 44 farms in the Mississippi Delta exploited black workers by paying higher wages to immigrant workers on temporary visas. Their investigation found that white laborers from South Africa were hired over black farm workers and were paid more money for doing the exact same kind of work. As a result, more than $500,000 has been paid back in back wages to the black farmers working alongside more than $340,000 in punitive damages. I'm joined now by John Boyd Jr. He, of course, is the founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association. So great to see you again, John, and thank you for joining us on the Grio. Now, we always hear that oftentimes in this country, it's immigrants that are doing the jobs that no one else wants to do. But what we know, John, is that's not always the case. Oftentimes, farmers like yourselves and your colleagues, they do want to do this work. They do this work. So talk to us about the information that you received and how you found out that immigrants were being favored to be hired and paid a higher wage.
Yes, and thank you very much for having me. Well, I was notified by Mississippi black farmers what was going on in the area, and I reached out to members on the Hill, such as Representative Bobby Scott and others who immediately became involved on this issue. But it always looks like we classify everyone better than, in this case, black farmers and black farm workers, and compensate them more, treat them better. These persons came from another country, and they provided them with housing, incentive to come here to work. And here we have black farmers, and especially in the Mississippi Delta area, some of the hardest working blacks in this country, and brought them in there and treated them better. This is the systemic pattern that you've seen historically for the way that black farmers have been treated, and it's really an extension of Jim Crow laws, Jim Crow treatment. Everywhere you go, we haven't been treated fairly in this country as black farmers. With all of the rich history that we have, we're still in the year 2023 getting treated poorly by our own country. And the amount of money that was paid out, in my opinion, wasn't enough, for the humiliation and degradation that these black farmers and their black families face. But black farmers have been working our own farms. I've raised 1,500 acres in Virginia. I have 150 head of beef cattle. And I invite any one of those workers to come to my farm and attempt to try to outwork me. I'm telling you right now, we have a great work ethic. That's why we survived slavery. That's why we survived sharecropping. That's why we survived Jim Crow. And it's because we are hard-working people. And for the people that's coming here, they say that we don't want to do the work. Oh, we can do the work, and we want to do the work, but people, we want to get paid. We want to get paid. We want to get paid for our work, for the time that we put in, a fair compensation.
Indeed. And John Boyd, let's zoom out for a second, because there are many folks watching this show that have never maybe even been to Mississippi or don't understand the implication of how important black farming culture is to America, but also to the Deep South. And it's true that Mississippi has an extremely high black population. The most black city in America, they say, is Jackson, Mississippi, right, which has upwards of 80% black people. The state of Mississippi, I believe on my last recollection, was something 35% of the state is black. So the importance and the significance of what yourself and other black farmers do to that region cannot be overstated. We also know that black farming used to be, post-emancipation, a generational pathway to wealth for black America. And over the years, it has shrunk to, I believe you educated me, John, last we talked, less than 50,000 black farmers, even in America these days. So put this in some broader context for how important what is happening is to black America as a whole.
It is. And, we've lost so much land. Here we lost virtually all of our land, if you really want to look at it. And we're really facing extinction. We're down from 20 million acres. Many of those acres was lost in the Mississippi Delta. We're down to 1% of the nation's farms in this country. And, we have 120,000 members across the United States. Many of them are part-time farmers and just landowners and interested black people that want to support us. But 20,000 of our members are from the state of Mississippi. It's the largest state that we represent in the National Black Farmers Association. So a heavily populated area for blacks, rich history for farming in this country, in the Mississippi Delta, and probably with the exception of the state of Virginia and others, some of the most egregious treatment that blacks face was in the Mississippi Delta. And we're still struggling to get ahead.
Well, what we know, John Boyd Jr., is it's not only immoral, but it's illegal, right? It's unconstitutional per Equal Protection Clause and all these things we've been talking about. And I know that you've been working with Black America's attorney, Benjamin Crump, to make sure that there is legal consequence to some of this treatment. And on the other side of the break, we want to talk about that. We want to talk about why this is not over and why there is a big fight ahead for black farmers and that Black America needs to fight this fight with them. Stay with us. We have much more after the break.